everyone, and welcome to this week's vlog from Barton All Burner Services. Hope we're okay. Thanks for everyone that's subscribed. It is amazing. We have gained more subscribers in a week than I think we have any other week, and the comments are fantastic as well, so we love it. Thank you very, very much. So moving on quickly to this week, I'm going to take you to a job this evening, or potentially two jobs, I'm not sure. One is a Worcester Heatslave, not my favourite boiler if I'm really honest, but obviously we have to fix them as well. It's leaked water everywhere and it's gone bang. So it's either going to be an epic failure because it's quite old, and I'll be draining it, hopefully showing you where it's leaked, and then that's the end of that. We're probably going to have to let someone else fit a new one because, to be honest, we haven't got time until probably February. They will need their heating and hot water. And the other one I'm going to take to is a Grant combi, where a few weeks back we pressurised the 24 litre expansion vessel because we didn't have one, hoping that that would potentially fix it, but unfortunately the issue has reappeared, so we're thinking we're going to have to put an expansion vessel on that. So yeah, that's what we're going to be getting up to this evening. The time is currently, well, it's not quite evening, it's 5:05, and yeah, over to the vlog. So here we go. As I said earlier, guy just pressurised it. There was a, well, not a bang, he sort of all the fuses blew in the house, and he sort of couldn't understand why. This was a few hours later on, and basically he come back into the garage, and even though it's showing pressure in the system, as you can see, it's wet. Okay, and the problem we have, the reason it went bang, is we have water in the bottom here, but there is one control box. All the water's gone in there and it's filled the control box up. And if we look up, if I can do it, like so, off the bottom of the vessel there, it's been dripping. So this burner is absolutely saturated. So I'm going to have to take this one away. I've got some other jobs to do now. I'm going to have to take this one away, and when I get home later I'll rebuild it and I'll go through it all with you, and then I'll come back, put it back, and it should go once I find the source of the leak out. So yeah, I'm going to pull the burner out now. I'm going to, hasn't been touched for ages, look, it's got a red line on it. I'm going to find out where the leak's coming from, I'll show you that. And then yeah, when I'm back home later I'll show you how to rebuild it. So I'm just coming to get the burner out, which is just two crab screws here. However, you can see my hammer because the burner's stuck. So if I put this in here, look, oh, I can't move it. It's rotted in there. I think it's been leaking a long time. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to even get it out yet. So I'll give it a good old pull, and basically, just like I thought, it's pulled the blast tube away from the burner. Okay, like so. At least I've got the burner out. Okay, and it's a mess. It hasn't been done for absolutely ages. If I turn this around here, look, you can see all the water here. Okay, so that's what's corroded. So it's basically, get my torch in there, corroded all the way around there. So I'm hopefully going to be able to get the boiler apart from the top, get all the baffles out, and then maybe tap it back on itself. But I think, yeah, I think we're in a bit of trouble here at the minute. For people that aren't aware, but clearly there is a lot of engineers out there that do know, obviously a bit of a quick overview of this Heatslave. Okay, so you've got your expansion vessel there. Okay, there's your flow switch there. There's your secondary heat exchanger for the hot water there. And on this model here on these, you've got, if I get under here, they've just got the one circulating pump. You've got like a 3-port diverter valve up there as well. Okay, so they're all right. They're not my favourite boiler, to be honest, but they're fine. Combustion chamber here. So I was just looking at the cat, wondering what the cat was doing. So we're just going to rip the top off, just 2 17s on these. Like so. Never over tighten these because it bends here, and the previous people have over tightened it. Okay, so it looks like it's been leaking a bit of combustion by here, look, as you can see. So I'm just going to whip these off, like so. One. I hate to think what it's going to be like under here, because as I say, we've never, ever serviced this boiler. And it's off. Okay, you've got the individual baffles like this, so we're going to, oh God. Marvellous. This is going to be a good one, isn't it? As you can see, oh, it's all stuck in, so I'm going to have to use 2 hands for this one. Right, okay, here you go. So, number 1 out. There's absolutely no way this boiler has been regularly serviced, as the gentleman's just told me. Look at the rubbish. Probably better if I do that. Look at the rubbish in there. It's absolutely horrific. Okay, so I'm just going to try and get the second baffle out now. Oh, that one's actually coming. You can hear, oh God, that is full of rubbish. So I'd normally be hoovering all this, but I'll do all that when I come back. Can you see that? It's bent as well. So it's actually had it. Here's the next one. Oh, dearie me. Absolute mess. Oh, there we go. That'll come out. So again, just rattle it into the bottom. And be really, really gentle because I don't want to make a mess. And then, oh, hey presto. There is absolutely no way that's been serviced. The guy's an absolute blooming liar. No way. So I've just asked the gent, and he said, oh yes, it has been done by a local company, blah, 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 blah. He's told me who, but clearly I can't tell you who. Watch, we'll get my arm in there. Watch. Oh. Look at all that. Piles and piles and piles of sulphur. But I'm interested in that bit. Okay, that is the other side of the blast tube, as you can see. So I'm just going to look at all the bits there. I'm just going to try and clean that a little bit and attempt to knock the blast tube back without damaging it, to then allow me to get it out, to clean it, to then obviously put back on the other burner. I'm half an hour on now, and I've got it out that far. It's totally rotted in. The blast tube has totally had it now, because I had no choice but to hammer it. I never hammer blast tubes, but I literally can't get it out. It is absolutely, if I get hold of these grips, that is my movement, and it doesn't move. So I'm just having to hammer the hell out of it to get it out, and then hope that I can get a blast tube. I might have a second hand one somewhere. The burner itself, I've just tipped it over. Loads of water coming out of it, so that's going to want a hell of a rebuild. Ideally, these people should have a new boiler, but you know what funds are like sometimes. So yeah, it's going to have a good old rebuild, this one. One blast tube. Look at the corrosion on that. And it's come out of that hole there. So I'm going to have to give that hole a right good clean up. See all the dirt in there. And I'm going to have to change that, because you can only hammer so far backs and forwards. Clearly, you end up doing that. So not a lot I can do about that. But I've got it out now. So hopefully, as I say, I've got one of them. Rebuild of that. Give it a good clean, because that's disgusting. And then, yeah, go from there. So I'll be back with you when I'm back home in the sort of warm in my garage, rebuilding it with you. So worry when you pick a working burner, well, not a working burner, a burner that's gone wrong up and this happens. All the water's pouring out of it. Marvellous. So this is the thing. That has annoyed me a little bit, if I'm really honest. Part of me thinks, you know what? You've sort of lied to me, because you haven't bothered to have it serviced. You haven't really ever bothered to do anything. We've only been there once before, so I found out, and we've done a little motor, synchron motor inside the 3-port valve, but we've not done anything. And you know, they're saying to me, oh, it's been serviced, yeah, regularly, blah blah blah. It hasn't. I totally caught them out. There's so much dirt in the boiler, I just turned around and said to them basically, well, please don't lie to me, because it hasn't been serviced because of A, B, C, D and E. And they're like, well, yeah, it's been such a long time. And then they did happen to hook a receipt out that was 2014. So that is the last time it was serviced. And yeah, it winds me up even a bit more when people basically, it's not like they've, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I forgot. They blatantly know it hasn't been done for ages, and they've blatantly just said it has been done. And it just makes you not want to help people even more, but there you go. Anyway, little one over. It's the expansion vessel definitely leaking. Okay, it's filled the burner up. The trouble is, the expansion vessel is directly above the burner. I think it would have helped a little bit, because on the Sotronic control box on the B9 burner, you've got like a back plate, which is obviously where all the wiring is, and then you've got a cable plate that slots in, and it sort of like would have protected maybe a bit of the water and that, but it's broken, missing. There's like a tiny little bit of it there, so the water's just gone straight in the top basically. When I did finally get the burner out and I tipped it over, just like as you see on the video, there's water everywhere. I've smashed that blast tube to pieces. So yeah, I'm I'm hoping I've got a second-hand one, because the new one's going to be an absolute fortune. And yeah, I'm going to fix it because it gives me a kick fixing things like this. But sometimes I do think that customers don't deserve it. But yeah, maybe we should say that. But there we go. So I'm just going to pop and look at my next job now, which I may or may not be able to video depending on where we're at with that. And then I'll be on my way home. And yeah, I've got a bit of a burner rebuild ahead of me, haven't I? So yeah, so I'll speak to you in a short while. So I'm in my workshop and I'm now going to strip it down. I didn't show you the last one I went to. It was just a basic vessel change, but the customer was just stood above me, so I couldn't really record it, to be honest. So I'm going to strip this down now and just see if it's worth actually repairing this burner. I'd like to think it is, but I need to have a good look. So the first thing you can see is that there's that plate I was talking about. That's where all the water's gone in. You can see it's all soaked here as well. And you can see the control box is all steamed up. So I'm going to take all that apart now. I'm also then going to take the end plate off here. See it here and have a look. You can still see the water here from there. And then we're going to go from there. So this is the B9 burner. You see them a lot on Wall Stars as well, but they're a really good burner in their day. Yeah, they're still a good burner now, to be honest. Very easy to do and strip down. You basically, on this part here to reveal the fan, you undo, you can see the Allen keys there. And once you've undone them, the outer plate just pops off here. And then obviously you're into where the fan assembly is. I've undone all them. It's just 5 screws there, okay? There is one more here, but you don't have to undo that one. So we're just going to lift it off now. Let's have a little look in here. Yeah, you can see where it's got wet in there. And also, it's been doing it for ages because it's corroded. It's all corroded in here. You never wipe all this, look. It's soaking wet. So I'm hoping it hasn't gone through into the motor as well. But obviously I'm going to have to clean all the electrodes up, etc. The electrodes, you can see they've lost their sharpness on the tips anyway, so I'm going to have to change them electrodes. It's a very old nozzle. The water's gone down here as well, so it's gone in there. So it's going to have to be a full strip down. You can see, look, it's horrible. It just needs to all dry out. There's the air adjuster here. It's horrible, look. Absolutely disgusting. And on these models too, the air actually, it sucks in the air there. But to adjust them, you've got the screw on the end there. That's how you do it. So I'm just going to take it apart a little bit more now, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to take the fan off now. But one thing I've noticed, I'm going to zoom in. I've used a smaller Allen key here because it's quite tight in here. But if you look there, you can see like a flat bit on the shaft of the motor. Okay, that's supposed to line up with the screw, and that's how it holds it tight. As you can see, whoever's done it last hasn't lined it up. My Allen key's where the screw is, and the flat is in its base. So there's the flat there. The Allen key's there. So they've actually got that wrong. Okay, it's held on, don't know how. They've obviously done it out very tight. So I'm just going to nip the Allen key undone now, and then I'm going to pull the fan off. Fan off. So I've turned it over and wiped it. It's quite clean there, but inside the actual fan itself is wet. And if you look here, wet. Okay, so I can see water particles in there. So unfortunately the water has got into the motor as well. So I'll be taking that apart as well. So this is going to have a full strip down, so I can just basically investigate exactly what is needed. I think this one might be too expensive to repair, to be honest. Little Allen key grub screw there. I've undone that. You can undo and take the electrodes off here if you want to when you service, when you want to service it, but I don't. I only ever undo that if I'm adjusting the electrodes, which I'm actually going to change. So I'm just going to lift that off. Like so. He says, complete with glove. Okay, so that's off now. There's your HT leads. They're quite stiff on these. Okay, I'm just going to pull them off now, and then I'm going to look a little bit deeper. I'm surprised the electrodes worked anyway, because this one here is broken. I can just move it, look, see? It just moves. It's actually snapped. Can't quite see it there, but there's a crack there, so they'll definitely have to be changed. But even regardless, if I put it like that, they haven't got the best points on. They should be out there like that. So I would actually be changing them. So yeah, they've got to go. Just the 2 electrodes there, so I'll be replacing them. Further investigation in here. There's water down there. The photocell's just there where my finger is. However, that hasn't actually got wet for some reason, so I think we'll probably get away with that, but I would stick a meter on it and check it, but I'm pretty sure that's okay. All the water's now out of there. I'd give it a good wipe and a good clean out. I'm now going to spin the burner over, and I'm going to take this part of the burner to pieces. So I'm going to take the pump off, I'm going to take the motor off, the cell I'm going to pull and double check, and then we're going to get into where the water is in the control box. To get the oil pump off these, the BFP 21 L3, okay, you just undo it there. Don't bother with the 11mm down there, because that's just an absolute pain because all your air intake's in the way. So just undo it there on the nozzle line there, and then there's just 3 glove screws, and it will just pop off. And obviously first you need to disconnect the cord that's just fell out. You see the water in that as well, there's some water in there. So I'm just going to have to check this out a bit more as well. If I shake it, yeah, it goes, yeah, it's full of water. Okay, so I'm going to take the motor off. We have 2 Allen keys, one there and one where the screwdriver is down there. So we're just going to undo them. Number 1, doesn't matter if you leave the screw behind because we're pulling the motor out. And number 2, just going to unplug it. Oh, water. Okay, so clearly that needs some deeper investigation as well. So I'll just move it out of the way. Actually, this lead, oh, did you hear that? It's stiff. Absolutely. Yeah, stiff as anything. So that lead's actually no good. Okay, so we're just going to lift the motor out. I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to take it apart. And then we're going to have a little investigation inside. So to take it apart, we just undo the 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. And then it will all separate. Before you separate the motor, I always mark it, look. So it can always go back in the same place. You can see that all the way across the mark. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this end cheek off. And in there, as you can see, it's glistening, is water. Okay, I'll just look at the other bit. You can see the water in there as well. If you shake it, water. So this motor is full of water. So again, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to reuse that. Yes, I could sit it for weeks, it might dry out, but then it'll rust. So I'm afraid that motor is going to heaven. Also, the capacitor's here, and inside there, that is also full of water in the cap. Okay, so far, the motor has had it. We know we need a new lead for the motor, because it's cracked anyway. The electrodes are no good. And now we're going to get into the bad boy there, the control box. So as you can see, it's pretty much getting stripped down. Also, there's a lot of water around here as well. Okay, so this is getting to the point where I'm thinking it's beyond repair. But yeah, I'm going to keep going. To get the control box off, 1 screw here. That's all there is, that's it. Okay, I've undone it, lift it off, and as you can see, full of water. Had it. That's no good either. We now go to here. It's all absolutely full of water. Now the trouble is you can't just clean that, because when you undo it and turn it over, you can sort of see where all the pins are, and all the water gets between the plastic and the actual pins themselves. So you can't do anything about that. You can try and blow it with a compressor. I've got a compressed hair here. You can try to put WD and clean it, but it's no good. So it's going to need a new base plate. And as I explained to you earlier, there's the only bit of the cable plate that's left is there. That normally goes in here, so obviously that's missing. So there's no point in me going any further there. We basically need a base plate, a cable plate, a total rewire. We know the pump's okay. The control box has had it, the motor's had it, the electrodes have had it. It actually needs 2 leads because the core lead's stiff as well. So I'm going to price all this up, but it's going to be a lot of money. And it's a hard one because a new burner is going to be like probably £300–400. It won't be a V9, it'll be something similar. So because of the age of the boiler, etc., you think, oh, I've got to change it. But obviously Christmas is coming up, so what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'll see if I've got at my unit, which obviously is not near me now. I'm going to see if I've got a B9 second-hand burner that I can take, obviously refurb, check all that through, and then stick that on and then go from there. Because you've got to think, it's not just a burner on this boiler, it's an expansion vessel. They're probably over £100 as well for the Worcester, because everything on a Worcester is expensive. So that's me done for tonight. Pretty much, as you can see, I've stripped a V9 down. There's not really much of it left there at all. Okay, so that's it for me now. I'll get back to you tomorrow when I get to my unit and have a little look.
Right, so Robert has a job right now, which I'm helping him with, because he arrived, the burner had been covered in water for quite a period of time. Somehow kept working even though it had water everywhere, due to lack of service. The boiler hasn't been serviced in a long time. Robert, from my understanding, had to smash the boiler to pieces basically to get it apart. When you get water leak over a boiler and that sort of dries but stays wet, you know, it can sort of turn into sort of a cement when everything starts rusting up and bubbling. So he smashed it apart. Luckily for the customer, we have a spare refurbished burner, or we are refurbishing a spare burner that we've had at our units, or else this would be a new boiler. But like I say, engineers out there, if you take a boiler out, keep the burners, because they'll get someone else out of trouble. You know, Christmas is round the corner, presents need to be brought, you know, people need to be looked after, and we can't just go, right, you need a new boiler, cost them thousands of pounds, and not be able to do it for ages, leaving them cold. No. So what I'm doing today is, now, like I said, the boiler hasn't been serviced in a long time, and we are waiting for a blast tube to arrive. So what I'm doing is, I'm at the property, I'm going to get the boiler ready. So, like I say, hasn't been serviced in a while, combustion chamber full of sulphur, everything's quite sticky now, because it has been off for quite a while. I need to clean all the flange through, because it's got build up, meaning that the burner's not going to slide in and out. So in theory, I'm just doing a service basically, but this has to be done ready for the new burner. So I'm just going to show you guys my side of the story, and then it'll be back over to Robert to show you the final result. So yeah, let's crack on. This is the boiler, a Worcester Heatslave. What's happened is water has leaked all over the burner that, well, used to be here, corroding it in that flange there. Now, as you can see, look at the state, firstly, of that sill. Now, I'll be honest, that's just down to lack of service. This is why you need to get your boiler serviced. Probably only a few months off of leaking gases, which is not any good. Look in there as well, look. All the sulphur, look at the big build up at the bottom. I've got to get all of that out. Baffles, gonna be dirty. As you can see, it's actually, well, you probably can't see, but it's very, very sticky. It's wet, look, and sticky. Due to, obviously, boiler being off, getting cold, getting damp. So it's not going to scrape off very easy, but I'm going to give them all a good clean. Put a new seal on there, get it back together, and then some point in the very, very near future, going to get a new burner on there, get it running. We're going to have to replace the vessel, because if you look at this, now engineers, as you know, the fact this is coming out and it's up this way goes to show. But hang on, see that? See how water comes out of there? It's supposed to be air, meaning that the vessel has absolutely had it as well. New vessel, new burner, going to give it a good clean, new gasket, get it running some point in the very close future, get a kit in there, test it up. She'll be good for probably another 5-10 years. The first thing I'm going to do is take this gasket off, because it's the easiest thing to do. Start with the easiest things. I mean, look at that. It's breaking apart, so you can see how bad. Look, it's falling apart. I'll tell you what, I'll be back in a minute once I've got this out. It's not going to come out in one piece, is it? When you're putting the actual rope seal in, like I'm going to show you right now, when you get to the corners, this is so important. I can't even explain to you. When you get to the corners, make sure you do not cut corners, right? Do something like that. Get your screwdriver like this, look. Push it in there really well, nice and tight. Oh, like this, right? And when this is what I do, I like to get on here like so, and just push and make sure it's right in that corner. Do not skip corners. Nice 90-degree bend, or else it will leak. As you can see, got the new rope seal on there. A bit of a wipe. Nice and tight in the corners. Smallest little bit of something like this. Now we're going to tackle that. Got the baffles cleaned up. Obviously they are absolutely filthy still, but you're not cleaning them to make them nice and shiny. You're cleaning them to get all the sulphur off. Like I say, got them nice and clean now. No sulphur left on there. We've got a nice new gasket in there, and then I just need to tackle this next.
So following evening, the saga sort of continues. This one's going on a little bit now. So my son Ryan, he's gone and cleaned the boiler out this afternoon, Worcester Heatslave, and I have got a donor burner here, but it's not the same. As you can see, it's got a longer blast tube on it. Okay, so that won't fit. What you can't do is just pump a burner in with a longer blast tube, because it'd just be wrong for the boiler, because like compared to the old one, it's totally different. So I have actually ordered a blast tube for this. I've managed to get hold of one from somewhere, and it comes, I believe it comes on Monday, and the expansion vessel coming on Monday as well. So as far as this week's vlog's concerned, unfortunately you're not going to see the end of it, but you can sort of see where we get to. So yeah, I'm just going to strip this one down now, and we're going to just try and make one out of two somehow. Things like the nozzle holder will be different lengths and stuff like that, so we'll have to change them over. So I've stripped it down like the old one. This motor is no good. This is on the second hand one I've got. It's got really noisy bearings on it, so that is out the door. Okay, but the one last night that was soaked in water, people can think I'm sad. I've actually dried it out. Okay, I've blown it with a compressor, blowed it, cleaned it. I just stuck a lead on it a while ago and it works. Okay, so I'm going to reuse that. That's going to go back on. You can see the difference here. There's no water in here. And also I was talking earlier about a cable plate. There's your cable plate all in one piece, look. And that's what should be there. However, different leads. Obviously, Worcester for all you geeks out there. And then the one that's going back on, clearly, is the Worcester one. So I just need to transfer the leads over into here in the wiring centre. The other thing I'm going to do is, this is an early MZ cell. It's leaded. Okay, so they're okay, they work fine. But in the future, if it goes wrong, it's a pain to have to unwire it. So I'm just going to take the lead out of the old one, and then obviously I can just clip it back onto this normal MZ cell, which I'm going to change, because actually if you squeeze this, it cracks. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to make one out of two up here. So yeah, the other thing of note is that obviously I did check the fan sizes. They're all the same. I did swap the fans over, but if you look here, I'll do a little comparison. Oh, here we go. You can see this is why you have a different length in blast tube. Okay, look how long this is here. This nozzle assembly. Okay, well this assembly is short. So to change them over, because essentially, as you can see, the casings are identical. You just undo the screw there at the back, the Allen key, and then they just slide out and come out. All right, so that's what I'm going to be doing next. One thing I love when I'm doing work in the evening at home is him. He's my apprentice. He looks at everything I do all the time. I wonder what he's actually thinking. Probably, get on with it, Dad. I want to go for a walk, maybe. I don't know, what do we think? Anyway, back onto the burner. Okay, so here we go. We've got the shorter nozzle assembly in there. You'll probably notice these are Sterling electrodes, not B9s, okay? These were on the Worcester burner that was on there. They should be individual ones. I'm going to leave them on there at the moment. I'm also going to leave the nozzle in at the moment, because when I put it all back together, I'm going to have to wait until I get the blast tube. And it's when I get the blast tube is when I will then change them to the correct ones, the new nozzle, etc, etc. But I don't want to leave it sort of unattended where it might get knocked, so I'm going to leave that at the moment. Okay, I'm going to bring your attention to the nozzle line there. On the Worcester one, which is the other burner, you see how much longer it is. It's so long. Worcester done this and made it a nightmare, but Worcester actually for once were quite clever and done a shorter one. Okay, so I have swapped them over as well. Okay, I've used the pump which was already on the boiler. I've swapped it over because it's the better one, and now I'm just going to do some wiring here. I'm going to swap the wires over now. So as you can see, the one that was on the All-Star before is literally a live neutral and an earth. But on the Worcester, you've got the live neutral earth and some other wires. What this is you can actually see that one goes to the motor as well. It's sort of got a link in it. It's because the Worcester's got post-purge, so when the boiler turns off, the fan just keeps running for a period of time, just to blow all the fumes out of the boiler to stop it. So it's slightly different wire, so it doesn't matter, it just all transfer over absolutely fine. But clearly I need to do this to keep the post-purge on the Worcester. So yeah, I'm just going to swap the wires over now. So there we go, all done, all back together. I'm just going to change the control box when I actually plug it in and put the burner back in. But again, it's not going to get bashed around because it's in a workshop, but I'm just going to leave it so they have a new control box on it. Obviously a new blast tube, which is coming. Electrodes I'm going to change. Obviously a new nozzle as well. And that'll be it, all up and running. All wired in, job done. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to show you the rest of it. Really pleased because at the end of the day, I've now rebuilt it. The customer's going to be happy. It's going to run. Expansion vessel, as I said, is coming Monday with the blast tube. Ryan's cleaned it. So by Monday night, we'll be all up and running again and we'll have one happy customer. So that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching this week's YouTube vlog from Barton All Burner Services. Please subscribe as always. We've got the others, we've got Instas, Facebook, stuff like that as well. Feel free to comment. We love a comment and I hope you enjoyed the content this week. So until next week, everybody, stay safe.